Nikolai Astrup was an innovative and important printmaker, particularly in woodcut, but also in linocut. He didn't obey the rules. He was like Edvard Munch, in fact, his slightly older compatriot in that regard. And Munch owned 3 of Astrup's prints. He obviously admired them too. Not obeying the rules was partly, I think, to do with not having perhaps the money. He certainly didn't have a printing press. He did everything the hard way by hand, carved the block himself. But then he tended to use oil paint as his printing medium rather than printing inks. He would paint the block, take the print himself by rubbing onto the paper. He would use different colors on the block itself in the Japanese manner. But then, of course, use the print again. He had 3 or 4 different stages of the wood block, and each of them would be different. And this ties into exactly how he approached painting as well, in that he is changing things every time. He did not see printmaking as a means of producing 50 identical prints that he could then sell for a fortune. The idea was that each print would be different. It would have a different mood. He would alter things on the block. He would even then take up a brush and alter the finished print, so that sometimes prints are absolutely encrusted with paint. I have 2 particularly beautiful examples behind me, and they show Astrup's own home at Sanndalstrand. He'd moved there in the winter of 1913, and over the next few years he created a remarkable place there. It's still open to the public to this day, Astrup Tunet it's now called. And from the 20s he started using it as a motif in its own right, because to him it represented a microcosm of what Ulster was all about. On my left here you have a print. This is a woodcut plus linocut. And this is a more or less standard print, a very beautiful one, quite a complex print. This looks as if it's another version of that print. It's more complicated than that, because he has used the print effectively as a drawing beneath, and then he has painted on top in oils. So is this a print? Is it a painting? The division is blurred. It's very hard to tell sometimes, and often Astrup would use the woodblock on the surface of a finished painting to create a particular detail. With paintings and woodblocks and Astrup, you're never quite sure where you are.